8:06 right now, and a major trade deal between the United States and the European Union has made headlines as of last week. The agreement includes a reduction in auto tariffs, a promise of massive European investment in key American industries, and what many are calling a big win for international trade. But what does that mean for Wall Street and for you and me? Well, Gerson Gibbs is the senior managing partner at Belite Capital and a former financial industry regulator who's worked with huge names like JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo. Gerson, we had you on before. It was so great to have you on then, and welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me, Ken. How are you?
You bet. I'm doing great. And this is just so timely that you're on now. So, how significant is this trade deal between the EU and the US?
I'm extremely significant. I think that Trump was using this as a negotiating tool, and some countries like the EU or some nations like the EU definitely took his offer and made a great deal. I think it's better for Americans. I think it's going to impact the automobile industry in a positive way, and I think it's just going to benefit the relationship between the United States and the EU.
Yeah, for those who missed it, I mean, we had, of course, the Charlie Kirk issue, the assassination, and we had so many other things happening, a lot of moving parts happening. For us in New Jersey, we had the governor's debate. So we were talking about so many other big issues that we kind of like, whoop, only people like you who are in the know about business were paying attention. But this was a big deal. So now we have agreements with a lot of the major trading partners. Really, China is like one of the few that we have to just finalize some of the deals with. But when they started talking about tariffs months ago, what was your opinion then about it? And do you feel that it was a good play, if you will, to try to get everybody to the bargaining table?
From a business perspective, I think it was a great play, although some citizens and people might question it from a presidential standpoint because it was just such shell shock. But from a business standpoint, I think the objective was satisfied. And that means just getting these people to the table, starting discussions, making it clear that you're not okay with how things are running with regard to business between the United States and other nations. So I think overall, it was a absolute good business approach, but some may differ because it was a shell shock to the United States initially.
My brother, because my brother's into business, is a business person. He works for IBM, like you, a major corporate type. And he said what President Trump did is akin to him being the front passenger in a car. And you're just driving along the highway and he has to go to the bathroom. And you just keep driving. He says, I got to go to the bathroom. And he grabs the wheel and does that. That's what President Trump basically is. Am I wrong? Is that a good analogy? When he said that, I said, wow, okay. So he scared the poop out of you, but he got you to move the car and get off the exit. And yeah, I wouldn't do it, but that's apparently what, from the business perspective, what he sort of did, right? Because otherwise, what was the incentive for all the countries to come in? Why would they give up money? There's no
Right,
incentive otherwise, because Biden was like live along, get along, whatever. So it was a status quo, and that's not to
right,
be critical of Biden, but Trump
right.
is sort of a train wreck guy, and that's why so many people hate him, but so many people also love him because they see, wow, okay, it may have worked.
Right. He just knows how to get you to pay attention to what he wants you to pay attention to. That's his approach, that's his business approach. That's who he's been for many, 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 many years. He knows how to get people to pay attention. And I think that sometimes that approach again could cause a little shell shock. However, from what we're seeing now, although he's still very early in his presidency, people are coming to the table and it is working out, and it's not disrupting the markets or disrupting consumers as much as we initially thought. There's still some time that we have to wait to determine how the actual impacts of this thing are going to go. But for now, it seems like nations are coming to the table, making good negotiations with the country, and ultimately it looks like it's going to benefit us.
So now, speaking of that specifically, what about how this will impact pharma and how this will impact semiconductors and other big industries? What do you think is going to be the case?
Well, in the semiconductor industry, of course, tech is just huge. I think that the EU is a main producer of some of these semiconductors, and the pricing, how much are things going to cost with this whole technology boom? Is there going to be a huge increase in price? And I think because of this negotiation, we can be a little more comfortable in saying that the price isn't going to increase as much as we initially thought. Pharma, of course, EU is the main producer of pharmaceuticals. We're one of the biggest consumers, and again, the pricing of everything it's going to drop tremendously or stay the same,
Mm,
in
you
my
know,
opinion.
and your opinion is a very good one because you've been in the industry a bunch of years. Gerson, what does or what did we learn, if anything, from the pandemic? Pardon me. When we saw that, we the supply chain was interrupted, and we that's when I think a lot of Americans woke up and said, wait, 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 you're saying we produce no pharmaceuticals in the United States, or relatively no? Did we learn anything, and have we changed anything from then to now?
I think we're still learning. I think that from the pandemic to now, it's a lot of changes that occurred, and just being knowledgeable on what are tariffs, what is import export, who are the clients of the United States, and who are the clients of these other nations as far as it relates to the United States, and just a basic understanding. I think that individuals, especially like myself, there were some things that I was aware of, but with this administration and with the media surrounding this administration, I think that there's a lot of education, although it could seem a little tumultuous at times, but education has been just excellent with regard to understanding what's going on as far as imports, exports, tariffs. Um, what do we provide to other nations? What do other nations provide to us? I think it's been very, very educational from the pandemic to now.
Gershon, the Fed finally dropped interest rates a quarter of a basis point, right? 25 basis points, I should say, quarter of a percent, I meant to say. Uh, and that's a big deal, right? In fact, in anticipation of that happening, a lot of banks lowered their mortgage rates. I think the mortgage rate, the average rate is what, 6.13 or something now, which is significant. I laugh because back in the day when I was searching for mortgages, if you couldn't get it below 3%, you were getting ripped off. And that was only a few years ago.
Exactly.
Now we're talking like 6% is wow, you got 6%. It's
Exactly.
all perspective, right? So, where do you see it going? Do you think that mortgage rates are going to continue falling? Do you think the Fed will cut any more? And how do you see that stimulating the economy?
I definitely believe the Fed is going to continue to cut. Of course, the inflation rates are a little higher than we would like it to be, and the Fed uses that as a indicator as to whether to cut rates or not. And there's been conversations between Powell and Trump this entire year about pushing to cut rates because it makes money cheaper to access for just the common folk. And I think that Trump's ultimate objective is to grow businesses, get individuals into new homes, just cut these interest rates and just bring some better business and money flow to America. And I think with regard to the rate cut, it's just the beginning of many.
Oh, let's hope. Keep our fingers crossed. What is the website at Belite Capital if people want to get in touch with you, Gerson?
Absolutely. My website is www.belite, Belite, capital.com.
All right, Gerson Gibbs, Senior Managing Partner at Belite Capital. Thank you so much. We love when you come on. My famous line, the last time we had you on, you defined what cryptocurrency was in a couple of sentences better than anybody else. You made it clear and fast and to the point. Because so many people we have on, they kind of like tap dance around at this nebulous title. No, no, you got right to it. And we got calls
I
about it. So I
appreciate that.
appreciate you so much. We love having you on, Gerson. Please come back.
Thank you, Ken. It was a
You
pleasure
bet.
being on.
God bless you. Have a
Bye
good
bye.
day. Take care.